I'm speaking on her behalf. I've spoken to her, I've conversed with her, and I've asked her several times, is this what you want to do? Are you sure this is the brother that you want to get married to? And she said yes. So I'm going to speak on her behalf. And if you feel nervous or you don't want to do it, I'm not trying to talk you out of it, then it is your option to say, give me more time, etc. Okay? So before we get married, inshallah ta'ala, if you please allow me to give you some advice. All right, we welcome everyone, the family, as I said, we welcome you, the Muslim family, and also the non-Muslim family. Some sisters may have traveled from out of state or out of town. We welcome you as well. You're all welcome. This piece of advice I consider to be golden advice for newlyweds, and golden advice for people who have already been married, and golden advice for people who are separated and don't want to be married. It is a simple, brief, easy story of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri narrated that one day the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting down, similar to our sitting, and there were some of the companions, the Ansar, the indigenous people, inhabitants of Medina. They didn't migrate from Mecca, but they were in Medina already. And they asked him for charity. They asked him for money. They begged for money. Please give us some money, O Messenger of Allah. Help us out. And we know the Messenger of Allah, his responsibility was to guide them and to look after their well-being. So he gave them the money that he had. But then they still needed or wanted more. So they asked him a second time. And he gave them the money that he had. Until they asked him a third time, and he gave them until he had no more money. He had no more money. And after he gave them all the charity that he possibly could give, he wanted to teach them something. And he wanted to give them some golden advice. And he wanted to make things clear and transparent. And it's also another important aspect of marriage, is to be transparent. And to be honest and to be straight up. For the good or for the bad. The Prophet ﷺ, he said in the following words, مَا يَكُونُ لِي مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَلَنْ أَدَّخِرَهُ عَنْكُمْ أَوْ مِنْكُمْ. He says, any wealth that I have, I'll never hold it back from you. In other words, if it's mine, then it's yours. Mikasa sukasa, as they say. Adab. They say the house is your house. Whatever I have, you have. If it's mine, then what? You got it. Anything that I have of wealth, and you ask me for, you'll have it without any problem. And he then said, وَمَنْ يَسْتَعْفِفْ يُعِفُّهُ اللَّهُ. He says, and he who wishes to do away with asking and begging, Allah will make him able to do away with asking and begging. وَمَنْ يَسْتَغْنِي يُغْنِهِ اللَّهُ. And he who wishes for self-sufficiency and to do without being in the need of another person, he who tries, Allah will make it easy for him to be that way. وَمَنْ يَتَصَبَّرْ يُصَبِّرْهُ اللَّهُ. And whoever practices patience and attempts to be patient, because you're not always patient. We're hasty by nature. Allah will make it easy for him to be patient. And then he concluded this beautiful address by saying, وَمَا أُعْتِي أَحَدٌ عَطَاءً خَيْرًا وَأَوْسَعَ مِنَ الصَّبْرِ. And he says that there's no gift that a human can be given greater and more thorough than patience. That's the best thing to have. People want to be wise, they want to be strong, they want to look good, they want to be attractive, they want to be knowledgeable, they want to be popular, they want to be famous, people want to be feared, respected, fame or infamy. These are things that people want. He says, but the best thing to have is to be patient. Or is to have patience and to be patient. That's the best gift. So this hadith, it shows us when it comes to living as a Muslim and also living as a human being, but especially getting married, is that whatever good you have, your wife should know that she will get that good. And whatever virtue or charm that a woman has, her husband is to enjoy that as well. Transparency between husband and wife. But he who wishes to do without reaching out and asking and begging and annoying and aggravating the next human being, that's the best thing to do. Because humans, they throw things up in people's faces. Didn't I do this for you? Didn't I give you this? Didn't I buy you that? Didn't I take care of this? What do you mean you're not going to do this? You owe me. I did this, I did this. And that's the nature of the human being. So the more that you put yourself in the service of a human being, the more ability the human being has the ability to throw it back into your face. But be transparent in marriage. And make sure that you focus on yourself. And you focus on yourself as a husband and as a wife. And one of the most important mistakes that people make when it comes to marriage is that they always focus on the spouse. You're a bad husband, you're a bad wife, you don't do this, you. And very seldom people sit down and reflect and look in the mirror and look at their own faults and shortcomings. But sometimes you have to talk about somebody's shortcomings. But after you've reflected on your own. And I can guarantee you, with 24 hours in a day, there's not too much extra time to worry about the next person. There isn't enough time for you to fully complete yourself, let alone constantly focus on the shortcomings of the next individual. So that's very important, self-sufficiency and being critical of your own self. But the most important part of the hadith is to be patient. You need patience to get married. It's going to be hardships. You're so young getting married. Many people tell you don't get married. You should wait, go to college, get this, buy this, be older, date, be engaged. You're making a major life-changing decision. So you have to have patience not to fall into what people say, but you know in your heart isn't right. And you have to have patience getting married with regards to doing the right thing. And don't think that everything is going to be hugs and kisses. And that the road of marriage is a bed of roses. No. Marriage takes patience. It takes sacrifice. It takes a lot to a marriage to stay together. It takes a lot for a marriage to be happy and to be maintained properly. So the greatest advice I can give you, Brother Roy and Sister Melissa, is patience. And the same applies to your family. Be patient with them. You're a Muslim and they're not a Muslim. You're same flesh and blood. You may not agree on everything. You may not see eye on everything. But be patient. Don't be hasty. Be mindful. Be kind. All right? It's an interracial marriage. There's different cultural values, cultural norms. You have to be patient. Where I come from, my country, my land, this is what we do. And you say, this is unacceptable in America. You can't just do this, and you can't just come over my house. You have to be patient. And the list goes on. We have children, you have to be patient. Raising those children requires patience. There's never a time in which the human being isn't in need of patience. Never. That's life. No matter what you do, no matter what you are, no matter what your religion, no matter where you go, you will always need patience. And that's why the greatest people in life, no matter what they do, are the most patient. Greatest people. Football. Thursday night football, right? Who played last night? The Chiefs and the what? The Chargers. You know who won? The Chargers won, right? One of the reasons why they won that close game was because of what? Some of patience. And that's what makes a good quarterback from a great quarterback, is that he doesn't throw the ball away. He's patient. He knows when to stay in the pocket, when to leave the pocket. He knows what to do because he has patience. And a hasty young quarterback, even though he's very talented, is going to make those immature mistakes because he doesn't have the virtue of what? Sabr, patience. And this goes on in any profession, any way of life. You always need patience, but you need patience in abundance. So that's my advice to you and to Sister Melissa and to every single person who hears these words is to be patient, but patient upon the truth. So with that being said, I don't want to lecture you anymore. You've had to sit in the khutbah and listen to me talk. I don't want to lecture anyone any further. With that being said, Brother Mukhtar, he's going to be the imam today. Inshallah, you're going to perform the marriage. I'm the guardian of Sister Melissa. You're going to actually perform the nikah, inshallah. So it's very simple and it's very easy. First thing that you can do is, inshallah, you can ask Brother Roy or Sister Melissa, do they have any conditions or stipulations before they actually get married?
Brother Roy, Sister Melissa, do you guys have any conditions or any special needs before you get married?
What do you say?
Yeah.
Brother Roy,
that's you. You don't have any conditions stipulations. Melissa does. What are those conditions stipulations that she had not shared with me? Our lady.
Sorry. Oh, this is bad.
Okay. So why would a person prevent his wife from getting an education? Knowledge is for everybody.
I know.
No Muslim man in his right mind would say he wants his wife to be ignorant. In his right mind. The one who's going to raise your children, the first teacher is the mother. The first school that the child will attend is the lap or the hip of the mother before the man. So obviously no one will prevent his wife from getting an education. And obviously people disagree on what is and what isn't education. Is going to college, education, is that formal education, etc. So basically right now, she wants to go to college, correct? And she wants you to say that you'll allow her to go to college, correct? And you won't stop her. Tell you, you have any other special needs?
Second wives.
Tell you.
But why?
Are there any other needs? We'll get back to that one. Okay, right. Any other needs, Sister Melissa, before we go forward with this? As far as the second condition, that a man will not enter into polygamy, I myself cannot agree to that condition. And I cannot bear witness upon that what? That condition. That's something you guys have to agree on. Okay? You guys have to agree on that among yourselves. But me personally, I wouldn't sign a contract involving that condition. If you say to her that you won't do that, that's fine. But I'm not going to put my hand on that. And that is because, as I mentioned in the khutbah, sunnah wa ta'ana. Getting married to another wife is not necessarily mandatory. And for those who are not Muslim or those who are watching, oftentimes in Islam, people, they're so far from reading history, they isolate Islam and Muslims. So they say, why do Muslim women cover up? If you actually read the history of many civilizations, not just Judaism and Christianity, covering and veiling is well known. Okay? If you look at the news today, people, they talk about terrorism and fighting and killing and holy wars. I'm not here to discuss the details of that. I'm just making a point. If you read about other religions and other civilizations and other parts of the world, this is something which is practiced by many people. And it's not just invented by what? The Muslims. Rather, on the topic of terrorism, which we do not believe in, the concept of senseless violence and killing people in an improper way. We don't believe in that. But the concept of who makes terrorism and the people to make suicide bombs, it was not the Muslims. And the same applies to polygamy. Polygamy isn't something which is special to the Muslims. It isn't something which was made up by the Muslims. If you read basic sources, Wikipedia, Google, you will find that polygamy is well known in many cultures, religions, and ways of life that have nothing to do with Islam and what? Muslims. Everyone understand this? So in our Islam, in brief, a Muslim man who is financially capable and emotionally stable and religious and strong enough is allowed to marry more than one wife with conditions. That's not permissible in our faith. Nor is it permissible in other faiths. So that's all I want to say with regards to that. So Brother Roy, Sister Melissa, inshallah, that can be your condition. You guys can agree on that. That's the promise that you wish to make to her. Let us. But I wouldn't put that part of the standard contract that a man cannot do something that his Creator has allowed him to do. And if we start and we open up that door, then the whole thing will crack and crumble. Islam will fall apart. You can't do this, you have to do this, and we start doing things for ourselves, then that proves that we have serious issues. You understand? So that's my personal advice. But that's your own discretion. You and Sister Melissa, that's what? That's your own discretion. You understand this? That's your own discretion. So with that being said, you can agree on that, that's fine. I won't necessarily mandate that, even though I'm not performing the marriage. Marriage, actually. So, ask them any other special needs or requirements or stipulations that they have.
With the barbecue. I know. What does it take? Yeah, the contract that I can take pictures. Oh, that's fun. What? Oh, okay.